Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode number 35 in the book of Genesis. Today, Am I My Brother's Keeper is the official title. Subtitle here, subthought is, Should I Be My Brother and Sister's Keeper? And today we're going to take our lesson from a murderer. So a bad guy is going to be a good teacher. And that's Cain. This is from Genesis chapter 4. Please read with me. We'll start in verse 8. Cain spoke to Abel, his brother. And when they were in the field, Cain rose up against his brother Abel and killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, great question, where is Abel your brother? And he said, I do not know, which is a lie. And then he asked this great question. This is from Cain, murderer. Am I my brother's keeper? And the Lord said, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying to me from the ground. All right, so the first thing I notice, I'm going to notice a bunch of things about this passage today and great practical implications. So we have the Lord involved on site and verbally manifesting his presence. Now they're outside the garden. Adam and Eve got kicked out of the garden a generation ago. And he was raised, Cain and Abel were both raised outside of the garden, but within this purview of God and with this interaction of God, which is fantastic. And every generation, of course, gets to make their own decisions towards God. And at the age of accountability, everybody chooses. So sometimes like my choices to count for other people and other generations, but as a rule, God allows their vote to carry the day. So he gives free will. Remember, too, God is asking questions that he knows the answers to. The question is, do we know the answer to the questions that he's asking? So the questions he asks, great questions today. Where is Abel, your brother? So the point is, Cain knows exactly where his brother is because he killed him. And then, after you kill somebody, generally they don't move after that. So the second thing is that God knows where Abel is, both his body on the, buried or not buried in the soil, and also he knows where his soul is. So the Lord is the soul keeper, and God knows where every soul is. He notices this. So Cain just lies here, just this absolute in-your-face lie, which is, I do not know. And at least that's what comes out of his mouth. And I wonder, I think Cain knows that he knows, Cain knows that God knows that he knows. And if not, this is a really pathological construct that's going on inside of his head. But the God of the universe is speaking with them, and he thinks he's pulling a fast one on God. It's just ridiculous. So he lies to God, number one. And secondly, he lies to himself by saying, in a sense, I am not my brother's keeper. Why should I care? He's saying, I am not my brother's keeper, and I shouldn't have this responsibility. So Cain, in response to, am I my brother's, then he asked God this question, am I my brother's keeper? As if to say to God, I'm not my brother's keeper, and I shouldn't have to have this responsibility. It's a great question. So who else is tangibly here to keep our brothers and sisters other than other people? So let's talk about keeping for a sec. Am I my brothers and sisters' keeper? Well, it means to kind of almost do two things. Number one is to watch. So notice and guard with your eyes, but also this practical side of preserve them and protect them. So heed their life and protect their well-being. So it's kind of two parts. Number one is to notice, and the second is to keep. So am I my sister's keeper, or is this just anarchy and every man for himself out there? So this is given, the concept here is given in rebellion to this order and charge of God. The point is, we are keepers of those in the family, of those descended from Adam, which is everybody, of those in the family of God, and those who are in physical proximity, however you want to define this family. So let's pause right here and just ask two questions. Am I noticing my brothers and sisters, my other fellow humans? And then the higher call, which is, am I keeping them? So am I in agreement, even with the very concept that I should be keepers of my brothers and sisters? And let's allow God the implied command here given by a rebel that I am my brother's keeper. And let's learn today by this excellent teacher and this terrible example who is Cain. Lessons from a murderer. So let's notice first and then watch over them, and we cannot keep what you do not watch. All right, so the Lord's response, he gets this other question, which is, what have you done? Ironically, it's the same question, exact same question he asked Eve, Cain's mother, so many years ago. Do you realize what you've done here? I know what you've done. Do you realize what you've done? Do you realize the consequences of your rejection? So to Cain, he's saying, hey, you didn't give a good sacrifice. You gave the wrong amount. You gave the wrong kind. You gave it in a grouchy way. And I offered you mercy. I offered you grace. And all I asked you to do was change your behavior, change your attitude, change your offering, and you can be accepted. So every temptation is a way out. Every sin is a way back. And Cain says, no, I don't want it. So in conclusion today, let's start with the concept of agreement with God. Am I my brother's and sister's keeper? And know that outside of marriage, we have people that perhaps we don't exactly choose, that we are supposed to think about, watch over, and maybe do something, protect and guard. He's placed us here not alone. So let's notice first, because you can't keep what you do not watch, and think about who in our world needs keeping, which is the answer, short answer is everybody. Let's keep our sisters and keep our brothers. Maybe that's by praying or writing or texting or making them cookies or something. And kind of ask the question, who's in my family? Well, it's everybody that's descended from Adam and Eve. And let's not neglect this God-ordained path of restoration that he offered. So, Cain, I give you this way of grace, and he's saying no thanks. And he goes exactly in the opposite direction. He takes a life rather than guards a life, and then he lies about it, and tomorrow we're going to find he's going to complain about the consequences. So today, am I my brother's keeper? And first, let's answer the question correctly. Yes. And which brother and which sister can I keep today? Let's go find one. It shouldn't be that hard. Write a letter, call, text, reach out, protect, watch. Am I my brother and sister's noticer first? And then, am I their keeper? Let's go keep our brothers and sisters today. Thanks for listening.